my dad is a huge part of like what gave me the confidence to believe that I could help someone, or like just the push that people out there needed help. He had his first heart attack when he was like 36. I was in elementary school, and I was just walked into that hospital room and saw the toughest guy I know, like connected to machines in a hospital gown, and realizing that he was breakable. And he, kept the bad habits. He had a second heart attack when I was in junior high, third heart attack when I was in high school, fourth heart attack when I was a freshman in college. He would say, like, I would lay in bed and I'm going to be like, I'm going to start tomorrow. And then I would go through McDonald's driveway on the way to work. I wanted to, hit my head against the wall. Like, why don't you care enough to do this? Mm-hmm. And eventually he said, like, I'm scared to try and fail and then embarrass myself.
We talk extensively about the bitch voice and the boss voice. And for most people, the bitch voice runs the show. It runs your entire life. It's the voice that tells you to skip your workout and you'll pick it up tomorrow. It's the voice like your dad saying, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start after the wedding. I'm going to start after summer. I'm going to start after the holidays. And then the weight starts to compound up. It compound up and becomes a snowball in the opposite direction of where you want it to go. And what we're talking about here is squashing that voice that creates these scenarios to the point where it's literally irrelevant. Like you don't even hear it. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to my reality. Guys, today, as promised, we have 75 hard verses. But before we get into that, I want to kind of give you guys a rundown on how the show works, all right? Normally, on Mondays, we have Q&AF. That's where you submit the questions and we give you the answers. You can submit your questions a couple different ways. You can email them in to, what's the email address? AskAndy@AndyFrisella.com, or you can go to YouTube, click the link underneath the videos of Q&AF, and write in to be on the show live with us, okay? Other times we're going to have CTI. CTI stands for Cruise the Internet. That's where we put topics on the screen. We speculate on what's going on in the world. It's our social, comedy, politics, current event show. Then we have Real Talk. Real Talk is 5 to 20 minutes of me giving you some real talk. And then we have 75 hard verses, which is what we're going to get into in just a minute. If you're unfamiliar with 75 hard, just keep listening because you're going to find out all about it. All right. It is available for free at episode 208. It is the world's most popular mental transformation program ever. And it's free. There's also a book at andyfrisella.com. You don't have to buy it, but it is very popular. It covers the entire Live Hard program, plus a ton of information on mental toughness, why it's important, how to cultivate it, and use it in your life. With all that being said, we do have a fee for the show. The fee for the show is very simple. If it makes you think, if it makes you laugh, it gives you new perspective, if it helps you learn some new shit, do us a favor and don't be a hoe and share the show. Did you want to do that part? Did you want to do it there? Yeah? All right, cool. DJ's still on leave, I guess. Paternity leave. I can't even say that with a straight face. But we do have 75 hard verses today with a very special guest, my great friend, Lexi Johnson. What is going on?
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful facility.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been
First
here once
time.
or twice.
Yeah. First time in the studio, though. For real.
Really?
I mean, like, since the new digs. I think the first time I ever saw it, you just had the logo.
I think we're getting ready to redo it again, aren't we? Aren't we, like, making it way bigger? Yeah. We're expanding. So business is good.
Good.
Yeah. So what's going on, dude?
I'm excited to be here. We're going to talk 75 hard.
Yeah.
I was talking to him on my way up to the podcast room, and this is I finished 75 hard the 6th time this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started 2020, and when a friend approached me about it, it was kind of funny because I was in decent shape. I had good habits, and I was like, I don't need to do that. And I took it and I started like kind of scheming. I'm like, I'll do a point system. Like, I'll do some of the things. And that was when I started to look at myself and I'm like, if you're compromising on what your standards are and like hand selecting what you think you should do out of this, and if you're doing that, you're going to pick the shit that you want to do.
Correct.
The stuff that comes easy. I like working out. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I didn't want to follow a diet. I didn't want to read a self-help book because in my mind, I'm like, self-development, like, yeah, losers need self-help
it's
books.
corny.
Like you only get them, if you're in the trenches. And I'm like, I'm doing all right. And I didn't think I needed it. And when I like had that come to Jesus moment, I'm like, all right, we're in. So I did it the first time in 2020, started it right before COVID hit. And my life is completely different than it was 5.5 years ago.
Well,
largely
talk
due
about
to
that.
75 hard. Yeah, so at that point, I'm trying to think in 2020. So I was a dental hygienist.
Mm-hmm.
And right before that, I was actually a substitute teacher. And I don't talk about that.
What'd you teach?
Anything.
I didn't even know that.
No, I graduated with a degree. Essentially, you needed to get another degree. It's health science. So like you need to go, unless you want to sell medical sales. And I wasn't about that. So I just wanted to be able to contribute to the house. Like I just felt like a burden. So I substitute taught for a little bit while I was trying to figure that out, went back to dental hygiene school. And I remember I just had no fulfillment. Like I would come home from substitute teaching or dental hygiene school or my dental hygiene job. And I would like wait for my husband to come home and just sit. And I was like, that it's not fair to him either. Like my fulfillment shouldn't be coming from someone else. So I dove in on 75 hard and we did it together and it thank God we grew in the same direction at the same time and we like doubled down on all of our standards and it changed the game because when shit hit the fan with the pandemic and everyone else was spiraling, I felt so in control.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like such a black and white parallel from the people that were, had no standards and no routine, no solid habits, that they were just like, there was no consistency in the world, no consistency in their own life. And I was doing so well.
Yeah, we saw so many people, I remember that, who during that time just let themselves completely go to shit. I remember seeing people like 4 or 5 months later after they first started shutting everything down and dude, they were up like 40, 50 pounds. I was like, what the f*** have you been doing?
Yeah, you're working
apparently nothing.
4 steps from your kitchen in your pantry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you started, let's talk about this, okay? Now, 75 Hard, as you know, is a mental toughness program. And a lot of people mistake it for a quote unquote transformation, physical transformation or fitness program. So when you first started this, what did you expect? And did that change throughout the process? I kind of want to get like, if you can remember now you do it, you've done it 6 times.
Yep.
But that first time, what was that like?
Yeah, I had never touched a self-development book. I went to Goodwill because everybody gives away like Bibles and self-help books. So I found a book there. And that was my first really implementation of any sort of self-development, like personal development. And I became obsessed with the reading portion. Like that was one of the things that I was dreading so much. I loved that. And I am such an ambitious person now, but I don't think I would describe myself as that way. And I feel like those that, describe it as that physical transformation, it is such a recalibration of your habits and your standards and your priorities and your time management. And you just happen to see physical benefits as well. Like that's
right.
Just a cherry on top. And at the end of it, you do see that progress, but more than anything, and it's so consistent. If you like look at the 75 hard hashtag, you read all the comments, almost always people are like, I wish that I could show physically. Like I wish that you could visually see how much transformation has happened under the surface. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like at that point, like I said, I had no fulfillment. I didn't really have a drive. Like I knew that I was capable of more, but I didn't have any sort of direction. And doing that and like proving to myself that I can do that amidst chaos in the world and like non-normal circumstances, it gave me the belief and the confidence in myself that like I could start my business. I started my business right after 75 hard. Took so many.
The first time?
Yeah. Yeah. So 2020, I think I finished 75 hard probably in like March or April. And I started my business in May. And it was scary as hell, but like you can reflect on those 75 days of being also scared and also wanting to compromise. And you're like, you just keep moving forward. I survived that. I lived to tell the tale and I can do this. Yeah. You can just figure it out along the way. Yeah,
dude. I remember, I think for a lot of people who go down the journey of 75 hard and live hard, it is the first time is exceptionally special because a lot of the limitations that you think you have become eliminated, right? Like, I don't have the time. No, you learn right away that you do have the time. In fact, you learn exactly how much time you've been wasting. And a lot of people will talk about how they feel like they have extra time because they're so productive and so on top of their shit. Other things like, for example, most people have never gone more than 3 or 4 days on a diet without cheating. You know what I mean? Like, if you, and that sounds crazy, like you're going to go 75 days without it. And a lot of people will say, that's not healthy. That's extreme. That's this. Dude, what's not healthy is eating the shit that you're eating every 3 days and giving up on yourself on all your goals every 3 or 4 days throughout the course of your entire life. And the confidence that comes from completing that program the first time, not that it gets any easier the second time, but for some reason that first time, I just got a lot out of it, dude.
Yeah, it is like an awakening. Like, it's Pandora's box, because once you do it, you have, like, if you do it with integrity and you do it the right way, and you can tell when you do and you don't,
right,
there's no going back.
No.
And those that push back on, like, damn, 75 days of regimen don't have the long-term vision of, like, you could spend decades and decades at a higher quality of life if you just dedicate the next 75 days to actually, like, opening your horizons to what you're capable of. Because once you do it with integrity, like, I remember being scared on, like, day 75, and I'm like, what do I do tomorrow? I don't want to go back to where I was 75 days ago.
That is how people should feel when that's really how you could tell if someone did it. Because, dude, there's two groups of people, right? There's the people that they get to 75 days and they're like, fuck, dude, I want to keep going because I'm doing so well. I feel so good. I'm getting so many positives out of this program. And if you're doing it right, that's how you're going to feel. And then you have the second group. And the second group is they do the same thing they've always done. They half-ass the program. They get to the end. They want to clap and cheer like they accomplished something. And then they celebrate with all of the shit that was controlling their lives before they ever started on the program. They celebrate by taking a day off or 3 days off. They eat, a cake, or they celebrate have a party, or they go right back to alcohol. These things are the things that cost you everything, that puts you in a position to even feel like you needed to do this program. And then you're going to go right back to them on day 76. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you give yourself and reward yourself with the things that have been causing you the most pain after you just did all this work? And people who have done the work, they recognize that. They recognize that very clearly. Like, dude, I've been able to eliminate most of these things from my life, and I feel so much better. I look better. I'm doing better. And someone who's in that situation is not going to jump right back into this old shit. You're just not going to do it.
And that's the differentiator between those that call it a challenge and those that treat it like a program. Because if you're treating it with a deadline in mind and you're like, all right, I just got to get through these 75 days and then we'll go back, that is the reason that you keep going back to where you were. That's the reason that yo-yo cycle continues. And as a coach and a trainer, there are those two distinct groups, of the ones that do it with integrity and the ones that just want to say they did it.
Yeah.
And anytime someone comes to me and they're like, I failed, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm like, I have an immense amount of respect for you for saying that, because you owned your shit. You're going to start it again tomorrow, rather than the ones that are like, well, I mean, like, it was just a picture. Like, it was just,
right.
I read 8 pages and I fell asleep. And when you compromise on one standard, just the cracks start to form everywhere. And, like, it's not just your personal development. And then you start, like, it's in your relationships, it's in your professional life. If you consistently make those compromises with yourself, it's in every realm of your life.
Right. It's just a matter of time before you find yourself back where you were. I mean, how many times do we see this with people, in life, but especially in fitness? You see it a lot in business too. They put in this exceptional amount of effort. They lose weight. They might lose 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 pounds. They look amazing. And then they think that they're just there, right? And then we see them 6 months later or a year later, and they are back to where they were or past where they were, even worse off than when they started the first time. And I think that comes from people's misunderstanding of the fact that, you know, your body doesn't just acclimate to, this new shape and this new amount of calories and these new amount of protein and training and change. And then you get to go back to your old habits and keep those. And I think that's very confusing for people. And I think a lot of people have trouble leaving their old life because they feel like, well, fuck, dude, if I'm eating healthy and I'm training and I'm not drinking, what am I going to do? Because they've built their identity so much in like the social culture that they feel like they're going to be completely bored or abandoned, or they can't picture their life outside of that. And, I think when people really and I know this, I don't think it, but I just saw this yesterday, this guy posted how he's been sober for 3 years straight because of 75 hard. And
so awesome.
Yeah, dude. And
so cool.
And your life is immensely improved. And just because you can't see it outside of the alcohol and the food and the culture that you've built, you have to trust that you're going to be in a better spot. And I think that like fear of moving away from everybody else really hurt. It's like a tractor beam, dude. It like sucks people back in whenever they just get on the outside of it. And I think the one thing that's really good about Live Hard and 75 Hard is that the time frame is long enough to where you actually get used to being away from the bad influences.
Yeah, and I think a huge part is that abandonment piece where you only know what you know and you only know the life that you've lived. And typically, if you're contemplating starting something like this or you're contemplating a life change, you need it. Like there's a reason for it. People say like, I can't stay motivated, but if you're unhappy enough with where you are, like that is the motivation. That's where you get. But you're surrounded by people that are just feeding those horrible habits and like that's their life, and you're worried about your friends judging you because you're not drinking or you have to get an outdoor workout or you have to manage your time better, and you don't have the awareness that like within those 75 days and moving beyond, it sucks to lose friends and to like have those hard conversations and realize that the people that you thought were in your corner weren't really in your corner. But on the other side of it, there are going to be people that support you and that, support that growth and are pouring back into you and building you up as you go. And I think it's just that piece where it sucks that people have just shitty surroundings, shitty environment, shitty people around them where they're not supporting it. But you have to have the awareness that on the other side of it, life is about to get so much better. The people you're surrounding yourself with are going to level you up. You're going to level up by their environment. And it's just one of those things where it's fear out of the unknown.
Right. Yeah, dude. I also, it's interesting too, after doing this for, running this program for 6 years, which is, people say, oh, it's a fad. Well, it keeps getting bigger and it's 6 years old. So
fads usually last about a decade.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a fad to me. But, I think one of the most beneficial things that I've seen out of this time is the transformation in how people view certain character qualities that other people have. When I was growing up, I always struggled with my weight. I always had a hard time sticking to the diet. My training, I always liked to train, but I didn't like to eat right. And I would look at people who were disciplined with their food, and I would always it was confusing to me. I would be like, how can this person go to a baseball game with all of us who are drinking, and then they go somehow find like healthy food to eat and they have a good time and they hang out? Like, how does this person have all this discipline? I wish I was born with that amount of discipline. And I think that's how most people see these things. They see these things like grit, determination, perseverance, discipline, confidence, especially, as something that people are born with that they just didn't get the lucky ticket to receive at birth. And I know for me, I viewed it that way for most of my life. And it wasn't until I figured out that these things are actually built skill sets and not born with traits that really opened my eyes to my own ability to become what it is I wanted to become. And I think over the last 6 years, the most important thing that has happened because of 75 Hard and Live Hard is that it has squashed this mentality amongst a large group of people that all of these things are magical, that all of these things are born traits or God-given traits. When in reality, dude, the reason that I didn't have discipline to eat the food was because I didn't practice discipline, right? The reason I wasn't confident was because I never kept my word to myself. I never followed through on anything. And if you had a friend who told you they were going to do something over and over and over and over and over and over again, eventually their word means nothing. And whenever your word means nothing because you've lied to yourself for so long, your confidence is going to be gone. You're not going to have any. And that's the situation that most people find themselves in. And with that comes low self-esteem, low worth, low belief, and then eventually acceptance that, you know what, I just didn't get the best card in life. And it's interesting how we grow up because no one ever taught me that. Like no one ever said, hey, these are things you can develop, not things that you just happen to be born with. In fact, I feel like most people believe these things are like truly traits that people are born with. And I think that's a thing that, we've done a good job over the last 6-7 years of really opening people's eyes to, because now it's a conversation, right? Like when 75 Hard first started, bro, nobody was talking about discipline. Nobody. Now all of these talking heads, everybody out here is talking about, you don't need motivation and you need discipline. Nobody was saying that shit. Now everybody's talking about it. And it's the truth. And we don't have companies out here telling people like, hey, you could take this product and it'll just help you lose 100 pounds without any effort. Like, I think the overall compounding effect of this program has been very positive, whether people have finished it or not, in regards to at least their awareness of what it takes to become the person that they want to become.
Yeah, it's got the conversation started.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Grit by Angela Duckworth?
Yeah.
That was a 75 Hard book. What you were talking about, my biggest takeaway from that book, she talks about naturals versus strivers.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, everybody wants to believe in naturals. They want to see naturals. Like, you want to believe that Michael Jordan had that ability from birth and like that was just a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But when you see someone that you grew up with that had the same circumstances, that came from the same environment you did, and then they go on to do something better, it just reflects a lack in you. We don't like strivers.
Yeah.
And because I
like them.
Yeah, like society doesn't like strivers because then it just shines back that lack in yourself. Like,
yeah, you're not doing shit, bro.
If you got the genetic lottery and you're just Elon Musk was built to do that, and they did all of these different examples of like these incredibly successful people actually came from nothing, and like they just kept going.
Well, dude, I think that's way more true than the other lie.
Oh, 100%.
Dude, most successful people, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is an important point to make. Most successful people come from shit, okay? They don't just make up these stories of these hardship situations once they've made it. And the narrative in society is anybody who's built success had to have had an easy path. They had to have had smooth sailing. They had an advantage, a circumstance, an inheritance, parents, luck, all these things, right? But when we really talk about like the way it is, it's not that way at all. Most of the people who have built tremendous shit come from situations that were so hard that most of them don't even talk about it, because that's where they learn to fight. That's where they learn to go to battle. That's where they learned all their grit and their drive and their perseverance. And they were lucky to have a hard upbringing because it taught those people those skill sets. And it's interesting how the social narrative is one way, but then the reality is mostly another way. I'm not talking about people who inherit their life. I'm talking about people who build it. And, I agree, dude. Like, people get pissed off and they say, oh, well, that guy had it easier. Bro, the fact that you come from a challenge and you come from hardship is a massive advantage to becoming successful long term if you appreciate it the proper way.
And if you're in the trenches and you have those aspirations, wouldn't you want to see those stories and hear those stories of the people that went through hell and got there? Like, to me, that's belief. Like, if they can do it, I can do it, rather than they were just born with it. But you have to have the self-awareness to be able to look in the mirror and say, like, this is the hand I'm dealt with. And you can either have that story and keep preaching your own limitations, or you can say, I have that too, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then you get to tell that story. Yeah. And then you're the person. Yeah.
Well, let's talk more about like the first round, and then we'll start moving into like what you're doing now and how this has continued to, sort of be something that you've gone back to for calibration over and over again. What were the physical results that you had the first time through? Do you remember?
This was 2020. I wanted so bad just to be super, super skinny. Like the years prior to that, I was always an athlete, and I was always muscular growing up. And for whatever reason, I was like freaked out that I weighed more than my friends because I was super muscular. So I'm like, I don't care. I just want to be skinny. I'll run, like force myself to run. I hated running, and I got really skinny. And then I was just depressed, like had no fulfillment, and kind of got soft. So I went through that, saw incredible transformation. Like, I wasn't in a bad spot by any means, but like I started tracking with an advisor in the first format, like an in-house advisor. They helped me out. I was under eating protein like crazy. So like by the end of it, the muscle growth, the definition, like I had the body that I wanted so badly. It
didn't weigh what you wanted though, did it?
No. And that's why I have a largely female demographic, and I'm like, I weigh like 170 pounds. And if you would have told me in high school that I was going to weigh 170 pounds, I would have shit my pants. I'd be like, no way. And it's just that I didn't grow up with anyone in magazines or anyone who I wanted to look like that was like open about their weight. I thought that I had to weigh 130. So the fact that I was stepping on the scale heavier than that, I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter what the mirror looks like that number needs to validate me. And I lost a bunch of weight, got down to 130. And I remember stepping on the scale and thinking for so long, I'm like, when that says 130, I'm going to feel so much better. Like problems will disappear. And my immediate thought was like, it would probably be better if it said 125. And that was just a realization. I'm like, it's not going to stop.
Right.
Like, I have no energy. My quality of life is low because I'm just like starving myself. So throughout 75 Hard, and just honestly the help of, that was my real introduction to like macro tracking and learning all of that. I completely transformed like how I fueled my body, just my knowledge in that, which was such a game changer. Like, you wouldn't drive down the highway without your speedometer. You're not going to intuitively eat without measuring what you're doing. Like, you have no awareness.
Especially in the beginning.
Yeah. And the way that our food is manufactured, like you have brilliant scientists up against you that are wanting you manufacturing food to keep you coming back. So like the way that we eat, just the odds are stacked against us. So if you're not taking an audit and you actually want to make a change, you have to measure that. So my progress was crazy. I went kind of from soft just to like, I was chiseled. And I was able to maintain that, I'm pretty well for the last 6 years. Mm-hmm. And just continue to build on those habits over time, and just, take what I gained each time and get better. It's one of those things you said, like the first time is such a transformative process. It's like the first time you ever see the best movie. Like, I wish I could watch Shawshank Redemption again for the first time to like experience it again. Mm-hmm. I wish that I could go back and just like have that transformative period and like bottle that, because it was just like such a mental awakening of like, holy shit, I am capable of so much more. Yeah. And just opened everything. I wouldn't have started my business if it weren't for 75 Hard.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So
let's talk about, so you were a dental hygienist and a substitute teacher. You decided to go through this program. You got done with the program and you found something else in yourself.
Yeah. So leading up, I always think it's important when we talk about my story and you talking about you being overweight and like you dealing with food and like struggling with that. I think about my dad so much, and my dad is a huge part of like what gave me the confidence to believe that I could help someone, or like just the push that people out there needed help. So my dad was overweight my whole life. He's a firefighter. He was like, it's crazy that he worked such a manual job and was so overweight. But I remember just being like worried for him he had his first heart attack when he was like 36. I was in elementary school, and I was just walked into that hospital room and saw the toughest guy I know, like connected to machines in a hospital gown, and realizing that he was breakable. And he, kept the bad habits. He had a second heart attack when I was in junior high, third heart attack when I was in high school, fourth heart attack when I was a freshman in college.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe he is Superman. He survived 4 heart attacks.
Yeah. Fried chicken every day or what?
Yeah. So we had these conversations, and I remember him being like,
straight Crisco, huh?
Well, after, spoiler, he lived to tell the tale. It's a happy ending. But he would say, like, I would lay in bed and I'm going to be like, I'm going to start tomorrow. And then I would go through McDonald's driveway on the way to work. And then I would get McDonald's. And like, it's just like, he was like, I'll start again tomorrow. And just never having that capability of actually stopping those actions. But I was in college, and I'm like, if eventually the other shoe's going to drop, he's going to have the 5th heart attack. Like, nobody survives 5 heart attacks. So I wrote a letter, just because I didn't have the confidence to come to him and say what I wanted to say. I didn't have the tools to be like, this is the plan that we're going to do, and I will help you. I was just like a scared daughter. I didn't want to lose my dad.
It's weird. I mean, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Like that's a hard, I get it.
Yeah. So I wrote him this letter. I was on Thanksgiving break, and I basically just said, I'm like, selfishly, I want you to walk me down the aisle one day. I want to see another World Series, and this feels like suicide by lifestyle. And I'm like, if this is the lifestyle of someone that is, okay with 50 years of life, but that's unacceptable to me. So I'm like, we need to make a change. I totally get that, eating healthier and exercising sounds unappealing. It would suck, especially just pivoting from the life you live right now. But I'm like, it would suck exponentially worse to walk down the aisle without your dad. And left the note on his nightstand. I went back to school, and he called me, and it was one of those things where we had never had that conversation of like, I wanted to, hit my head against the wall. Like, why don't you care enough to do this? Mm-hmm. Like, you care about us so much, but like, why won't you take care of yourself? And eventually he said, like, I'm scared to try and fail and then embarrass myself. And like, you guys see that I was trying and I didn't make it. So he lost 120 pounds. He gave me that letter back when he lost 100. And again, the physical is so cool, and to be able to see him and like see him playing basketball with my nieces and nephews and stuff, that's awesome. But he got a promotion at work. His relationship with my mom is awesome. Like, I have an active parent in my life. He is at every sporting event of his grandkids, and he's like riding bikes with them, and like, he is present in their lives. They don't remember him as that guy. It's funny, like when you see pictures of him all blown up, my nieces and nephews are like, who the hell is that? But I remember just like seeing that transformation happen, and I got a front row seat. Like, I got a better dad out of the deal. My mom got a better husband, and I am from a teeny tiny town. Like, everybody grows up to do what your parents did, and you don't usually leave that small community. Like, I love that small town, but it didn't seem possible that I could actually like make a difference. And in watching that, and I'm like, the firefighters got a better captain, and I got a better dad, and all these people are just better because he took care of himself. So I'm like,
no. They're better because you took care of yourself.
Yeah. So I was just like, if I could help, one mom or dad out there, it just doesn't stop with them. Like, their kids are going to be better off. Their spouse is going to be better off. So I'm like, I'm going to send it. Like, I was so scared posting on social media. I had like 2,000 or 3,000 followers, and I would post something and I would delete it. And I'm like, that would be so embarrassing if anybody saw that I actually cared, or I felt like I could help. And then eventually I just continued coming back to that, and I'm like, he's here, and like, I have such a better life because of that. And I know that there's kids out there that could have a better life because their parents took care of themselves. So I just like started posting bolder, like with more conviction, because I'm like, I am a recipient of this, and I know that I can help somebody else. And it just rippled from there. Like, we started getting some people. So the pandemic shut the gym down. Actually, a small business closed down for good in our community, just the gym that I worked out at. So I got some Facebook Marketplace dumbbells.
I gotta give you credit. During this time, Lexi was standing up vocally for everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Respect. Yeah,
I was actually the only dental hygienist or the only staff person in my office that didn't get the vaccine, and beside the point. So the pandemic shut my gym down. I started working out from home, and like, everybody is in a shitstorm. Like, you're schooling your kids from home, you're working from home for the first time. And it also opened the door, because so many people that are in the trenches and they don't know what to do, they're scared to go to the gym. Like, you don't want to look like a fool in the gym, and you go in there thinking that everyone else knows what they're doing and you are the only one.
That's such as life.
Everybody else is in the gym with a group chat, and you're like, did you see the chick in the black tank top? Like, she doesn't know. In your head, that's what you're thinking, like going in there for the first time. And I'm like, it's okay to look stupid in your living room. It's all right to look dumb in your garage. Like, you don't have to know what you're doing.
Bro, I look dumb 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm like,
make it a brand.
So I started like full length workouts. I press play and you're doing the workout with me the whole time. It's basically like a podcast and a workout because I'm talking the entire time and no one was socializing with anyone outside of your four walls. So more than anything, because I had seen such mental benefits from exercise and from 75 Hard, I'm like, you need to feel like you have a friend in this. You need to feel like you need an outlet outside of all of the craziness that's happening. Like if you can carve out 30 minutes with me, I will, take your mind off of all of the uncertainty right now. And you don't have to think about a thing. I'll show you exactly what to do. I'll talk to you like we're in person, we're working out together. And I did that. Like looking back, I'm like, I don't know how I had the balls to get in front of the camera because I was terrified, put it out there. And it's exposing. Like
now you were starting guys, because you're going to go look and see what she's doing now. She started this in her basement with like a vinyl banner taped to the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. So just want to be clear.
It's
not like she had some amazing facility and all these equipment and no.
Yeah, I always made fun, like, I started calling it the Dun Gym because I'm like, if I make fun of the fact that it looks like a scene from Saw, it's going to hurt a lot less when someone on the internet inevitably does. Yeah. So I just leaned into it. I had like a whiteboard leaned up against a paint can for a long time and it worked. So yeah, I think more than anything, like the feeling of you having a friend in this has hit home and like, I'm in their ear for 28 minutes a day. Their kids know my voice. They're, listening to me. And we just continued building from there. Like I said, I had no following at all. I had no business experience, no marketing experience. So I'm just like learning as I go. And they're not edited, which I think in a world of AI and everything is polished. And a lot of people see there, if you scroll 2 scrolls on Instagram or any social media platform, you're going to see some fitness content. And there is a huge difference between like perfectly curating a 20-second reel and being in front of the camera for 30 minutes and you're talking to that person, you're doing the workout yourself. Cause like, that's my workout. People always ask like, if I'm doing something else, I'm like, it's exhausting. This is my workout. This is it. And I think just like the authenticity of that hit home with people because I'm like, I'm going to meet you where you're at. We're going to do this together. And just in sharing my story and like, the benefits of me being a recipient of someone changing their life because I haven't gone through a huge weight loss. Like I've been relatively fit my whole life, but I'm talking to men and women that they've got kids at home. They've got ones at home that I'm like, I can't imagine how much different my life and how much like better that would be if I had a parent that was just leading the way the whole time. Like I have great parents. I have a great family, but if they were taking care of themselves from day one, it would be a complete game changer. I'm like, you have the opportunity right now to lead by example. Your kids don't have to unlearn it like you are right now. Just if you're, and parents especially like have that kind of martyr mentality where they're like, I will run myself into the ground for my kids, but they don't include the fact of like taking care of themselves. And that's the biggest component. You're setting them up for a lifetime of, good habits. If you just start right now, if you just lead by example, make fitness and taking care of yourself a normal component of your home. Rather than like what most of us grew up with, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to be able to see, like, I love it. I always share, people will be doing the workouts, they'll take a picture of it, and you see the screen and they've got like a baby monitor right beside them. I'm like, that kid is going to grow up and fitness is just normal. They just know that their mom does that every morning. Like that's just part of the deal. And I think that's so cool. Just like the shift in society right now. And I hope that it continues.
Well, I think it will. I mean, that's how it happens. It happens at one person at a time. I mean, you're the perfect example of what we talk about on the show all the time, which is, personal excellence being the ultimate rebellion and then having it flow from you to others in a ripple effect that ends up making massive amounts of impact. And I want to prove that point as we go through and talk about, how your business has grown. So you start doing these workouts in your basement. You have less than, what would you say, a couple thousand followers?
Yeah, I think I had 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah. And so where's it go from there?
So I was still a dental hygienist because dental offices stayed open through the pandemic. So I had like an hour commute. I would wake up at 4, record a workout, go to my dental hygiene job. So I was essentially working 2 full-time jobs. And then in between patients, I'm like getting back to clients. I'm sending assessments over my lunch break. I would go home and, do the same thing, respond to emails, respond to messages, and just rinse and repeat. And I did that for about a year. And I quit my dental hygiene job. And leading up to that, I remember thinking like, there's going to be so much, like same with 75 Hard. I was like, I'm going to have so much time on my plate now because I was already doing it. And now if I take out my, 8 to 5, I'll just be kicking back. And then if you're an ambitious person, you're going to fill that time. And it just like, I had so many, more ideas and I just continued capitalizing on that. But I remember putting in my 2 weeks notice and thinking that, when I left that dental office that I was going to feel so much better. And I woke up the day that my last day at the office and I recorded my workout and I like had a panic attack.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to come back with my tail between my legs and be like, hey, that thing I was really excited about, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I was so scared, but I went for it. I record 6 workouts a week and have done that for 5.5 years. It's like my digital diary that I talk to them, we get the workout in, and to the point of like, they're all in my basement. My setup has improved leaps and bounds, but I always talk about like your intention matters so much more than your access. I know people that have access to every resource, every, $1 million facility. And because they feel like that's going to get the job done for them, they're not going to
right.
They don't see anything. But I have proof of women that do these workouts or men that do these workouts with a baby monitor beside them in their unfinished basement or in their garage, and they're down 80 pounds, 100 pounds. And it's a matter of like, if you're committed to this and you make it a priority and you actually make this a lifestyle, like it will change your life without fail. I have a 100% guarantee, and I have thousands of examples.
Yeah. So thousands of examples. So now let's fast forward to where you're at now. Now you're doing, multiple events a month. Big events, how often? Every couple months?
One big event at least once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have like smaller events around those. But yeah, we've done close to 60 events in the last 4 years.
Okay. And how many people usually come to these events?
200 to 300. Some are bigger. We've got a big one coming up. But yeah.
On 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that for just a second.
Yeah. So we have a huge event on 9/11. I mentioned my dad and my brother are both firefighters. So my dad's been a firefighter for over 30 years. My brother's been a firefighter for like 12 years. And I grew up in I'm in the fitness space. So I felt like this was a really cool cross section. But there's a really, really cool organization, and they cover 12 different counties in Missouri and Kansas. It's called SAFE. It's the Surviving Spouse and Family Endowment. And if a first responder dies in the line of duty, and that's police, EMS, fire, full or part-time, like they cover them all. If they die in the line of duty, that organization is at the family's house within 48 hours with a check for $40,000. And they cover the funeral expenses. They have like Christmas benefits to help with kids and the gifts for years and years to come. So last year we rented out Arrowhead. If you're unfamiliar, that's where the Chiefs play. And we did the equivalent of a 110-story climb in the lower bowl. And about 500 people came out. We raised $22,000. We got an event this September 11th. My goal is $60,000 because Kansas City's actually been hit hard with line of duty deaths. We've lost 2 police officers in the last like 40 days. And that's $80,000 that they have to pay out. And because they have that promise, the only way they can deliver is if they've got money in the bank.
Yeah.
So $22,000 was awesome. Like I was really proud of that, but that's barely half of the endowment.
Right. So just before we get back to the ripple effect here, what are the details of that event? Just because people are going to want to participate. It's September 11th. What time? September
11th at Arrowhead Stadium. We have a Form Energy tailgate kicking off at 2:30. You're welcome to come hang out for that. We'll have opening remarks at 5 p.m. and then we'll head inside and average finisher is about an hour. So if you're coming out of town, you still have time to get home. We've got people coming from all over, but if you're not able to, if you're not physically able to climb, you can spectate. We've got spectator tickets. You can donate. You could buy a t-shirt. All of the proceeds go to SAFE.
Where do they go to donate?
I have a link. It's on lexijwellness.com, and under my events, it's stair climb.
Can we throw that in the description on the bio? Okay. So underneath the video here on YouTube as well, you'll be able to click this link. And I don't make many asks, guys. As you guys know, I turn down almost every business opportunity, advertising thing that comes my way, because I don't like to ask and I don't want to make this a commercial thing. But this is something that I would appreciate if you guys would give some support to, even if it's small, even if it's $5. It matters, and it's something that matters to Lexi, her family, but it's also very important to the core of First Form and what we believe and care about here. And I would just appreciate if you guys would either show up or, if you can afford it, give us a few bucks, not us, but.
No, I appreciate it so much. It's huge. Coming from that first responder, just firefighter family, it's not something that, the husbands and wives of those first responders don't sign up for that line of work, but they're affected greatly. Like my dad was gone every third day.
Sometimes the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the worst happens, they are the ones that are receiving that endowment. And it's the coolest thing for me last year was seeing like the civilians come out and be able to put a face to that, because if you don't have a direct tie to it, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You don't realize what a dangerous job these men and women clock into every day. It's not your average desk job. And last 2 weeks ago, a 26-year-old police officer in Kansas City died in the line of duty. He was hit in a car chase, putting speed strips out, and he clocked into his normal job, did not get to go home. And if you don't have that direct tie, you just kind of you don't really think about it.
Yeah, it's a headline.
Yeah, right. So to have civilians come out, there's a lot of different, and they're all really cool, just the 9/11 events, but to have civilians come out with the first responders, like we have 50 U.S. Marshals coming out. We've got all of these guys that are putting their life on the line every day. And then we've got women, climbing with kids on their back. And to be able to have two of those worlds collide, and just the community aspect of I'm a huge community person, and to have all of those worlds collide and for them to be able to just shake their hand. We went to 51 different fire stations about a month ago just to talk about the event, invite them out. And again, just thank them for their service. And that was the biggest thing is it's an underappreciated job.
Absolutely.
It's a hard job, and it affects you physically, mentally, emotionally. It affects your family. So if you're able to, contribute to this in any way, I would appreciate it so much, just because it is these are the ones running into the burning buildings that you think about as superheroes. They're also the ones that are at your PTA meetings. They're the ones that you're running into, they are average people that are signing up for a not average job.
Yeah, because they care about people. You know what I'm saying? And we need to be doing what we can to support them back.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the bottom line. I got lots to say about that, but we'll keep it.
Same. Part 2.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Quit spending our money to everybody else and pay our people the right way. Anyway, so getting back to the ripple effect. You started out, your dad lost 100. That was probably your first person that was you were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
My work is influencing people.
Yeah.
Now you have thousands of mainly women who you have helped transform, who probably started off in a very negative place. No belief that they could do it. A lot of them have probably always had struggles like this. Let's talk a little bit about how this ripple effect has happened, because it's right in line with what we talk about on the show all the time. As you know, we have to set the example ourselves if we want people to improve and we want society to get better. I would be interested to hear some of the ripple effect stories that and experience that you've had, starting from there to your dad to all of these amazing women and men that you help, and then maybe how it's some of their stories of how it has gone and fanned out in society.
Yeah, how much time do you have?
Yeah, well, I think the important point is that, people understand that it's on us.
100%.
I want them to understand that like, bro, what you do and how you live matters a lot.
I have like chills getting ready to say it, but I had a woman reach out to me recently, and she sent me a photo of a letter that she had written. I want to say it was about a year ago, and it was a suicide note. And she said, I was in the worst spot in my life. Like I had no hope. I thought that was the best route. And she was like, I honestly don't know why I like kept another day, because I was prepared. Like I had this written. It was dated and everything. And her friend at work was doing Lexi J Wellness, and she started talking about it, and she was like, I mean, what the hell? Why not? I'll try it. Fine. And she started it. She has not missed a workout in close to a year. And she sent me a picture of her family. She was like, I got a promotion at work. Like I have a group of friends now that we go for walks. We always, text our post-workout photos. And she was like, this didn't just change my life. It saved my life. She's like, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Like the transformation, the physical, it's so cool. Like, yeah, you're down on the scale. You got to buy new jeans. But the fact that you get to show up as a better human for your kids, for your friends, for your spouse, like it is life-changing. Mm-hmm. And it's just a start. Like I have people that are off all of the medications. Like they're no longer on the high blood pressure. They're no longer on the anxiety of the medicine. It's
hard to be anxious when you know you're doing everything you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
For real. I mean, that's kind of what anxiety is all about, right? It's a signal that comes from us on the inside that says, hey, you're not doing what you should be doing, and you need to do that. And people think it's like an affliction. I'm chronic anxiety. Yeah, because you're suffering from chronic do-nothingness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're paralyzing yourself.
Yeah, no purpose, no discipline, no gratitude for where you are. Like, you're not living. So it's natural that you're going to feel that.
And exercise is the most underutilized form of antidepressant and anti-anxiety. That's not just me. Like, there's so much research to back that also.
Yeah.
Like if you were...
Huberman talks about it a lot.
Yeah, if you're struggling mentally and you're sedentary, you're not giving yourself a fighting chance.
Well, I think it's important for people to understand that it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter who you are. When you get your shit together, other people do as well. And we all have an obligation to hold that standard for the people around us if we truly care the way that we claim to care. A lot of people are, they're upset about the way things look in the world, or they're frustrated with how their, life is turning out. And it's like, look, dude, it starts with you, and no one can do those things for you. And once you do it, your family's going to see it. And when your family sees it, maybe one of them is going to lose 100 pounds. And when someone sees that, maybe they're going to be affected. And this ripple effect of belief and hope and understanding that what can be done, I think it's transformative in culture. I think that's the answer to a lot of the problems that we have going on in the world. And you're living it every day. I mean, you're out there every single day now. I mean, I don't even know how many people you have in your program, and it's irrelevant, but I know I've seen you transform thousands of lives firsthand, all because you decided that you were going to sharpen yourself. And if we all took that responsibility upon ourselves, I think the world would look completely different. And I commend you for taking that responsibility, because that shit's not easy. It's not when you care about people at scale, it's a burden that is very awkward to carry, because you care about these, but some of them don't care as much about themselves as you care about them, or they don't see the potential in themselves that you understand they have. And that could be very frustrating.
It's exhausting. Sorry to interrupt. I know. It's exhausting to get people to care about something they really should care about.
I know.
Like, and logically, everybody knows that like eating well and moving your body is going to benefit you, but for whatever reason, there's just like a disconnect there. And it's like ramming my head into a wall every single day of trying to bribe and convince people to give a shit about something they really should.
Yeah.
But once they do, they're like, man, why didn't I start this a decade ago?
Yeah.
But,
yeah. That's one of the biggest frustrations that I think people have, once they, and it's not, there's nothing we could do about it, right? Like you can't cry over spilled milk. You can learn from the lessons of your mediocrity and your apathetic nature towards life. But once you're awake and once you figure out what you're capable of, one of the hardest things to deal with is all the time that you wasted. And that's something that I hear from a lot of people. Dude, let's talk about some of these mental transformations, not just losing 100 pounds, but like, specifically like the confidence aspect. When you were talking about how you started posting and you were super scared, that's something that I have a hard time believing because I see you now.
Yeah.
So you've done 75 hard 6 times. And from personal experience for me, every time I've done it, I've escalated past the point of where I was before. It's like almost like a compounding result.
Agreed.
I learn more. I get more out of it. I get better than I was at my best before. Let's talk about, let's kind of talk about that for a minute. So many people, especially the people who struggle with their weight, they think that if they lose weight, they're going to feel better, which they do. But what really creates the better is the confidence that is earned through the action.
I think if people understand, they think of confidence as like this figmented thing. But if you break down confidence, it is a really simple equation. Like confidence comes from evidence of what you've provided. So I didn't have any confidence in posting or changing lives because I didn't really have anything in the memory bank to rely on. But if you consistently show up over 75 days, or if you're in business and you just consistently show up, when you hit that hard spot and you have other hard things to reflect back on and say, well, I got through that. Like I remember feeling it was going to break me then, and I'm here to tell the tale. But if consistently every time you bump up against a challenge or you have something that, is an obstacle or it feels really hard and you just always back down, you always cave, you always give in, that is the memory bank. That's the memory file that you're providing yourself. So then the next time you come up against a challenge or the next time you do something hard, your brain only has evidence to pull from. All right, when we hit this spot, we give up, we quit.
Yeah.
And then over 75 hard and 75 days, if you always, and you have so many of those like mental, like just inner conversations with yourself where you're like, I made it to day 40. Like I did
pretty good.
Yeah. Like this is way better.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the gist of it. But if you always have that the only evidence you're providing yourself is that you quit when it gets hard, then every single time you get to the hard point, that's the only thing you've provided yourself. So you have to first do the thing. You have to get past that point. And then from there, you're building blocks. Like that is I always tell my girls, I'm like, this is going to be the last time that you feel this part, because from here we're building.
Right.
But from all of everything else that you've provided yourself, like you've only given yourself evidence that you quit when it gets hard. That's the reason that you don't feel that belief in yourself.
Yeah.
You haven't given yourself anything to reflect on. And every time you show up when it gets hard and every time you push through, you're continually like filling that evidence.
Yeah, you're making
box.
a deposit as opposed to a withdrawal.
Yeah, and people don't realize that like that is how confidence is built.
Mm-hmm.
If you were pulled out of a crowd and given a mic in front of 500 people, you would be peeing down your leg.
Mm-hmm.
But the second time you would feel a little bit better because you could do it again. You've done it. And it's just a matter of reps in anything, whether it's fitness or professional life or literally anything. Like if you're doubting yourself, it's because you have a lack of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
People have confidence because they have built undeniable proof to themselves, not to anybody else. Like I know that I can show up and change somebody's lives because I have so much evidence in myself.
Mm-hmm.
But to start, like I was scared to put myself out there because I knew I didn't have that that resume to back it up. And I felt like everybody else knew that too. And you just have to continue pushing forward, because that is the only way that you can actually build confidence. But when you break it down like that, it's not like this figment of your imagination, or it's not just like fairy dust that somebody's built with, that they just walk into a room differently.
Yeah.
You build the evidence and the proof over time, and then you have that to reflect on, and like it emboldens you. You know what you're capable of.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how people, and dude, this isn't like a judgment, because I used to think this too, but I think it's interesting how when people see someone who like walks in a room and gives that and like owns the room and has that confidence, they're usually in really good shape. People usually associate their confidence with the shape they're in, when in reality the confidence was developed and the shape is a byproduct of the decisions that they made, which created the confidence. And I think a lot of people really, really, really don't understand that they're not aware that their biggest problem in life is that they try to alter and change every single detail to be comfortable for them. And we see this in 75 Hard, right? Like you said, the very first few minutes, I'm going to do this, but not this. I'm going to create this version of that. And people are unaware that, like, bro, the whole reason that you're unhappy with where you are, unhappy with who you are, and haven't had any results in life is because you take every single thing that you don't like, every single situation that's even mildly uncomfortable, and you rearrange it to try and be comfortable. And this is the problem. And it's weird how many people can't identify that from lack of awareness, that when you try to make things that are supposed to be this way and you adjust them for you, this is what's creating this situation of no results, no confidence, no belief, nothing. Because you've never, like you said, you've never done anything or seen anything through or finished anything that you didn't highly modify to make comfortable for you. And I think it's something that I wish more people were aware of that. I wish more people could see that the reason that your life looks the way that it looks is because every single time you don't like something, you try to curtail it or customize it or make it easier for you. And this idea of convenience and comfort and ease and all of these things fly in the face of what it actually takes to be a successful, productive, fulfilled human being in life. Okay. Great stories, great lives that people write books about or that matter or even talk about after you're gone. They don't come from convenience. They don't come from comfort. You're never going to be fulfilled or feel good sitting on the couch doing nothing with your life. And so many people feel hopeless for one reason or another. They either feel that it's normal because society accepts it, which they do. They not only do they accept it, they propagate it, right? They don't propagate true mental health. They want to put you on pills. They want to have you in endless amounts of therapy for years, revisiting these dark places that everybody has and making it their identity, as opposed to like saying, hey, I need to overcome this. I need to get past this. And this is a tremendous opportunity for me to grow and become stronger and become more resilient so that I can be a better human being. And, you know, I think we're going to see a big divide moving forward in society, especially with like the AI thing and everything, that all the conveniences that are happening. I think we're going to see a lot of people just completely give up and become like tubs of consuming goo on their couch, right? And then you're going to have people that go the other way and they're going to say, nah, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be a fat, lazy, sick, uneducated, sad, unfulfilled, depressed human being that's dependent on everything that the government provides me. I'm going to be the best that I possibly can because I want to be fulfilled and feel good and be confident for once in my life. And I feel like this separation we're already starting to see in society. We're seeing people either go totally self-destructive or like totally the other way, which is great. But I think at the end of the day, I just think it's important for people to understand that you are in control. And when you could control the basic controllables, your life will look completely different. You know, we have this tendency to like get frustrated or say, oh, we weren't born with the ideal circumstances, or it wasn't fair, or this person has more, or that person has more of this, instead of just acknowledging that we have the opportunity every single day to get better and doing the work to get better. And I think it's really cool when we have so many people, you're one of them, who are out here living that standard and then seeing the ripple effect happen in their household, in their family, in their neighborhood, in their community. This is the way the world changes. And everybody thinks that like it's a law or a politician or whatever. It's not. It's us.
No,
it's how we live. Yeah, it does start with us. And yeah, man, I just hope that people can start to understand what it is they're responsible for, because that responsibility can't be deferred to somebody else.
No, and it's not unique to want to quit. Like, that is not a unique feeling to you. When you're in that moment and you're like, this is so hard. I am the only person experiencing this hardship. Like, no one has ever felt the struggle that I have right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's such
ego.
That's such a thing that we like recite to ourselves, but like, that is not a unique feeling. Anyone that has ever done anything worthwhile has wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Like, that is part of the deal.
Well, everybody hangs their hat on who had the worst upbringing or who has the worst circumstances. There's no award for having it the hardest, bro. Like, there's no award for having the saddest story. There's no award for, you know, having the most difficult adversarial life, and then that being the reason that your life looks like shit. People only care about those stories if you overcome them.
Yeah.
And I think for the last 10 years, especially on social media, we've had people figure out that they can create an identity in being a victim and get attention, right? It's not like they don't get anything from doing this. Every time they cry, every time they bitch, every time they complain, they get a slew of people in their DMs or in their comments saying, oh, dude, you know, you just need a break and you need to take some space for yourself. No, you've been taking a break your whole life, dude. That is why it looks like the way it does.
And typically the people that are pouring back in and feeding that is because if you're already in a bad spot and you take that break, then it lets the gas off you. And you're like, well, they're doing worse than I am. Like, yeah, let off.
Yeah.
You deserve a day off. Like, lean into it. You've had a hard go. Every single person that has done anything has that story also. It is, I don't know a single person that doesn't want to be happy, healthy, fit, and confident. Like, no one would say, I wish I had less confidence. I wish I was less healthy. I wish I was less fit. But there is a huge division in the ones that say that they want that and the ones that are able and willing to deliver on those demands every day. There's a difference between being capable and being willing. More often than not, most people are capable of changing their life and seeing that best version of themselves. Far less are willing.
Yeah. And it's easy to tell yourself a fucking story about why you shouldn't, can't, won't, don't. And that's the whole point of the program. The whole point of the program is to calibrate your inner mental voice to direct you to do the correct things that are going to get you to where you actually want to go, and not just talk you out of doing all the things that you know you're supposed to do. You know, we talk about, you know, in the program, as you know, in the book, if you guys are unfamiliar, we talk extensively about the bitch voice and the boss voice, okay? And for most people, the bitch voice runs the show. It runs your entire life. It's the voice that tells you to hit snooze. It's the voice that tells you to skip your workout and you'll pick it up tomorrow. It's the voice like your dad saying, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start after the wedding. I'm going to start after summer. I'm going to start after the holidays. And when you keep telling yourself, I'm going to start every Monday, then from whatever day you tell yourself on that, you know, like let's say I made it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I quit. I'm going to start again on next Monday. You go the next 4 days eating like total shit because you're like, I'm starting Monday. And then the weight starts to compound up and becomes a snowball in the opposite direction of where you want it to go. And what we're talking about here is squashing that voice that creates these scenarios to the point where it's literally irrelevant. Like you don't even hear it. And if you do hear it, it's like it's a non-factor in your decision making. And the fundamental difference between my decision making now versus my decision making in 2019 when we first started doing this is immensely different. I do not even think anymore about, man, I should like really skip this, or I should, I'll get back to it. I can't remember the last time I said I'm going to start again on Monday, when that was like my internal dialogue for 20 years.
Yeah, I always, I primarily talk to women, but I'm like, imagine you were dating a guy and he said he was going to pick you up tomorrow, take you on a date, and he didn't show. And he was like, well, I'll do it on Monday. We're going out. And then Monday comes, he doesn't show up. I'm like, if that happened repeatedly, he would be a flake. You wouldn't waste your time with him. Like, why do you keep treating your quote unquote priorities this way?
Yeah.
And it's a reflection. Like, if it's important to you, you're going to make it a priority. And it comes back to like that habit and that confidence development. The way that your brain is wired is like the first time you're doing something challenging, I always say it's like you're walking through a forest with like a bushwhacker. Like it's heavy terrain. It's hard to get through. And then when you come back and you track that same path, it gets a little easier because you've worn down. And then eventually, if you take enough laps, it starts to become routine. Like it is smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't expect to do the hard thing the first time and pick it up. Like you have to suck at something first.
So if 75 hard works so well, how come you did it 6 times?
Because it's a program. It's not you don't buy it.
Well, explain it. I know you know. The question I'm asking you to explain
your happiness, health and confidence is not a one-time payment. It comes rented. So it's a recalibration, like you said, at a microscopic level. I always say it's a recalibration of your priorities, of your time management. And I have been able to maintain really great habits between 75 hard and between, going through those. But I always come back to it. Like I've done it once a year since 2020, and I'll continue doing it once a year probably for the rest of my life, just because I've seen it time and time again. And every time I've done it, I've gained something more. I've taken what I learned the previous time and build from it. And 75 days later, I've never been like, damn, I wish I would have spent the last 75 days doing something else.
Yeah.
Like without fail, I've never regretted it.
One of the criticisms that you see online of the program is people say, well, if it works so well, why do people have to go back to it? Well, I don't know. Why the fuck do you have to take a shower every day?
Yeah. Why do you brush your teeth?
Why do you practice playing guitar? Why is anything that you're good at take practice over and over and over again? Why do you work out every day? You know what I'm saying? Like discipline is a skill set. And when people say that, it shows their ignorance to how discipline and confidence and self-belief and fortitude and self-esteem and grit and perseverance and all of this shit works. None of it is permanent. That's the thing people have to understand. There is no permanent solution. The only permanent solution is to recognize when it starts to get rounded off and then sharpen it back up again. And this is something that I think is really interesting because there's a lot of quote unquote fitness experts that like to talk shit on the program who don't even understand that it's not even a fitness program, bro.
And I think it shows a lack of respect for yourself and a lack of respect for the people that you say are super important to you, because you'll spend so much time doing shit that does not matter.
Yeah.
And you're dedicated to it. And you're unwilling to carve out that time to genuinely change your own life and change the people that you care about so much. But because you don't want to do the hard stuff, like you want to compromise on the things, you want to cherry pick the pieces of the program that you've already established.
Dude, all that does is reinforce the shit that you has already been messing your life up.
Yeah, you suffer more by avoiding the hard work than by doing it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then the other thing is, the other criticism that you get is like, oh, it's too extreme, or it's not a diet, bro.
And it's open protocol.
If you're a trainer, you can plug your programming into the structure. And by the way, I think you'd be silly not to, because they're going to get 10 times better results than they're going to get without it. Okay.
And if you're listening to this and you're stumbled upon it, you're unfamiliar with 75 hard, you have to do a 45-minute workout indoor and outdoor. You have to follow a diet, but it doesn't say you have to follow keto. It doesn't say this is what your calories are. It doesn't say you have to do strength training or Pilates or you have to run for 45 minutes. the open protocol aspect of it makes it tailored to the person.
Yeah.
Like you can select the diet that works for you
with the goal of physique change. That is what it is. It's people say, oh, well, I'll just eat normal. That's a diet. All right, asshole.
Yeah. If you're working with someone that is helping you, they are going to be aware enough to tailor that to yourself. But I've had people that need, like you said, it's tailored to your specific physique. I've had people, more often than not, it's a fat loss goal. But I also have had people in a surplus that are trying to put on muscle. I mean, like it's just a matter of customizing your needs. But that criticism that it's too extreme or it's, unsustainable for that, it is ignorant.
What
honestly.
about all these things that we talk about? And then we'll wrap this up. But, the things like grit, fortitude, your ability to persevere, do hard things. How has that changed for you since that first round in 2020?
It's been so cool to see because I have so much confidence. And I look back at when I was starting and when I was posting, and I could see, like, I am a completely different person than when I did. And it's a matter of putting in countless reps and having that review in your head of like, have I done this before? Have I had that hard time and have I seen it through before? And each and every time it just like you build that resilience. But if you've never done the hard thing and seen it through, then you just keep reflecting on all the times you've quit and you're like, well, this is what I do. That's the habit I've built. Quitting is just as much of a habit as the perseverance is. And if you're continually replicating that action, that's what you're reinforcing, that's what your brain's going to default to. So over the past 6 years, I have built so much resilience. I've built so much belief in myself.
I mean, dude, you've gone from not really being that into fitness at the time to competing at High Rocks, doing all kinds of hard events, building a business. I mean, these are massive things that you've done.
Yeah. I owe so much to 75 Hard and to First Form. Honestly, I'm a First Form athlete. If you're listening to this, you didn't know that. I wanted to be a part of First Form so bad. I love the products, but at the core, I remember following people that are in this building right now and feeling like for the first time, I was like, I would fit in there. Like those are the people that I would want to be around. I feel like I'm a black sheep with the people I'm around right now. And I remember just like craving that community and feeling like I would fit in, like I wouldn't be the outsider. And I wanted to be a part of First Form so bad. Like I applied to be a Legionnaire and I got rejected 3 times, guys. Like I wanted to be here. And I remember getting rejected that 3rd time and having a conversation with my husband. And I was like, I just have to be better. In the past, like it is because of 75 Hard and because of that resilience and my draw to like the values that are in this building and in this culture that I haven't gone anywhere. Like I wanted to be here so bad. I felt like this was home, that this aligned so well with my beliefs and what my mission is. And I wanted to be able to contribute to this mission. And it all happens for a reason. And I was able to, become a First Form Legionnaire and like grow within the brand and be able to, kind of cross our missions together and to do this. And we're changing millions of people's lives. Mm-hmm. And I just I have to, give credit where it's due because the First Form products are incredible. Yeah. Like protein's great. I didn't have to like plug my nose for the first time drinking protein, but that's not what made me want to be here so much. It's like you leading the charge and you painting the vision that normal people like me could actually make a difference. And that's why we're here.
That's the only way differences are made. That's the common misunderstanding in the world. People think you got to have an audience or you got to be famous or you got to be rich or you got to be special or this or that. When in reality, dude, the only way that change happens is when everybody understands they have a role in it. And I have a tremendous amount of respect and I feel very honored to have watched you do this from all the way back then to what you're doing now. And it's super exciting to think about where you're going with it because I might know
where we're going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to give you the flowers. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it though. But, I kind of know the plan and I'm just really proud of you, dude, because it takes a lot to do this. It takes a lot to do what you do. I don't know anybody that works harder than you. And out of all the athletes that we've had, and this might make some people upset, but it's just the truth. You've earned it more than anybody by the amount of change that you've affected with the people that you come in contact with. And that's what our mission is here. Our mission is to change lives. Our mission is to help people discover their own true potential and have the courage and the help and the assistance to pursue it, and then give them the tools to get where they want to go. And, you've done that, and you do that as good as anybody, if not better than anybody that I've had come in contact with the brand. So it's probably a good thing that you got rejected 3 times, because it put that fire in your ass to go out and really make some shit happen.
I'm so glad it happened that way, because I have so much more perspective and appreciation for being in the position I'm in now. Because if you would have told Lexi 6 years ago that I got to be in this room speaking to you on this podcast, she would have shit her pants, first off. But like, it wouldn't have been conceivable. And because I built that perseverance and I had the mindset of like, it wasn't screw those guys, like I'll go somewhere else. Like I wanted to prove myself. Like I wanted to prove that I could contribute, prove that I could bring value to this, that I belonged there. And it worked out so much better than like if I would have been accepted on day one and like been handed that, just like a fitness journey, just like changing your life. Like if you woke up tomorrow 100 pounds down, you would have no way to maintain it. You would have no perspective of every time you wanted to quit and all of the hard shit you've been through and every sacrifice you made, and you would have no idea where to go from there. But if you have the story and the journey of getting turned down and going through those obstacles, like I am so grateful to have my name in a locker, to be a part of something bigger than myself in this capacity. And I have all those stories, and it's the way that you want it to work out in your head of skipping all the hard stuff and getting it handed to you is not the way that when you actually do it, you're going to be so glad that you had that story and that you had that struggle.
That is such a true statement. I was actually thinking about this literally last night. When I started in business, okay, and if you guys don't know the story, we started with $12,000 that we got painting the stripes of parking lots. Me and Chris Klein, my business partner, we started Supplement Superstores, a retail sports nutrition store, when we were 19 years old, 25 years ago. That $12,000, we built out the shelves in our first store. We slept in the first store on and off for the first 3 years. We had to finance all the inventory on credit cards. And dude, it took us 8 months to have a day over $200 in sales. It took us 5.5 years to open up our second store. And in the first 10 years that I was in business, I made $58,380 cumulatively. I could have made a lot more money working at McDonald's. I didn't make that every year. I made that over 10 years. And dude, at the time, I was so angry and bitter and frustrated that nobody helped, that I didn't have someone give me money, that I didn't have someone finance my shit, that I was competing against people whose parents had put them into business and shit like that. And, funded their amazing stores and just all kinds of shit. And I was so angry about it. And I was sitting on my porch last night, and I have a nice house. I was sitting there and I was looking around. I'm looking around at this amazing place that I'm at now, which is far beyond where I ever actually thought I was going to be. And I was like, dude, I'm so glad no one helped. I am so glad that I had to do that, because dude, it taught me everything that's valuable about myself now. It taught me how to be resourceful. It taught me how to depend on myself. It taught me how to understand that I got to put the whole thing on my back and carry it down the road. That's what you got to do. And then when I think about like all the lives that have been impacted over the years from my story and watching me do this, because dude, when I started this podcast, First Form wasn't all that. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody who's been watching for 10 years, 12 years, or whatever it is now, it's 10 years now. They got to see it. They got to see me go from fat dude to fucking in shape.
Yeah, it's your digital diary.
Yeah. And dude, it's like when I think of like the reason I was able to do that and the reason we're able to do that is because we never had anybody really helping us. And now with all the lessons and not just the business lessons, but like the personal lessons, I'm so glad that that's the way it had to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you cannot identify that in the moment because it's so hard and it's so frustrating. And if you're in that position, whether it be with your fitness or whether it be with your business, and you are bitter and frustrated because no one cares. Listen, no one does care. I don't know what to tell you. They don't care. They're so busy. They care about their own shit that's going on. You can't blame them for that. That doesn't mean anything bad. But you have to understand that one day you're going to be so thankful that you had to go through this because it's going to be the reason for the rest of all the good shit in your life. You know what I'm saying?
And fitness is the perfect example of that.
Perfectly parallel.
No one can take that from you.
Yeah.
It cannot be bought. So when you arrive, you have all of the evidence, like we talked about with confidence, that you can look back on, and then it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
If you start taking care of yourself physically and mentally, your relationships will improve, your finances will improve, your professional life will improve, because you have so much respect and so much resilience built in that area that it flows out to everything else. You see what you're capable of there. And I argue, like, if you're on any endeavor as far as professional life, like if you're not prioritizing your physical and your mental health, you're not operating at a capacity that you could be because you're just leaving so much on the table.
Oh, everything.
So
everything. Much. I used to be the person who thought, oh no, dude, I'm good, bro. Like I got this figured out. Like, and there was evidence of that. Like I was financially successful. I had built a business. I built multiple businesses that were doing very well. So I'm like, well, what the f do I need that for? Why do I need? But then like once I took care of that, everything started to explode, like to a level that I couldn't really even at sometimes keep my hands on because it went so big. And I don't think people really understand that the epicenter of their entire life is how they treat themselves, dude. And I don't mean how you treat yourself like self-love, take a bubble bath, get a foot rub, be pampered, eat Dorito. Like, no, I'm talking about how you treat yourself. Great food, enough water, out in the world doing exercise, resistance training, putting good information in your brain, associating with the right people. When you control the things that you're in control of, most of your life is in control. Most of the things that matter. Yes, there is chance. Yes, there is things that happen. Yes, there are unanticipated hardships that come. That's called being a human being. And it's interesting how people, they see the world in this way that everything is up to chance, right? Like just because some things are. When in reality, most things that are going to affect your day-to-day life are absolutely in your control. And once you figure that out, dude, like it's kind of hard to be with by anything because you realize that every single thing that you do could have been handled if you were handling what you can handle. You know what I mean?
And I think that one of the biggest components that doesn't get talked about enough is that the inevitable stress that is out of your control that gets inserted into your life, the difference of the resilience that you handle that and you respond to that is a direct relation to the amount of like intentional stress you put yourself under. So I always think about like, it's like an experiment. You are controlling this stress. Like you're putting yourself in the environment, you're pushing yourself, you're stretching your capacity in a workout, or you're doing the thing that you don't want to do. And then when the inevitable happens and like shit hits the fan at work, or your kids are not sleeping, or like you're just under fire,
or there's an accident or someone gets sick,
your resilience to that everyday stress is so much stronger. So it's no surprise that if you build this cushy little lifestyle and you avoid all of the hard shit, that when you're stuck in traffic, that you spiral, or when your boss says something to you that's like in a tone that you're not good with, that you go back into the bathroom and cry. Like you are so much more resilient to everyday stress if you just allow yourself that discomfort. Like choose temporary discomfort for an hour a day and see what the other 23 look like, rather than just being under fire and feeling like the world is picking on you 24 hours a day.
So we're going to wrap up here, and I would like you to speak to people who maybe they've never heard of 75 hard. Maybe they've thought about it but didn't do it. Maybe they've had whatever reason to not go down this path. And I would like you to speak to them based on your experience.
Yeah, I think if you're in a spot right now, imagine 75 days from right now, 75 days from tomorrow. You wake up and you are the best that you have ever been. And in that morning you're waking up, you are fitter than you've ever been. You're more productive than you've ever been. Your finances are stronger than you've ever been. And what you think about in your head is that you'll just wake up and that happened overnight. But between here and there, you're building all of the things. Like logically, if you think you need to be healthier, you know what you need to do. If you need to be more successful, you know what you need to do. 75 hard puts the actions in place that it's the game plan. And you can follow that for the next 75 days and genuinely wake up 76 days from now and you are the best that you have ever been. And it is, if you do it with integrity, like I said earlier, there are two separate people. And I have a lot more respect for you if you go and you fail and you try again and you continue getting back up than if you compromise 75 days and then you just want to make an Instagram post. But
it's interesting because people know.
Yeah. Oh, it's so obvious. Yeah. 75 hard completely changed my life. Genuinely. It changed the trajectory of my life. It changed the way I viewed myself. It changed my relationship with my husband. It put me in rooms that I would have never even imagined. And it wasn't like 75 hard did that. It was the fact that I was willing to do 75 hard, and I built that.
Yeah, you did build that, and you unlocked all of these things that have allowed those things to happen. And like I said, I mean, what do you really think would happen? Like, let's just say we were able to get 5% of the population of the United States to do 75 hard. Like, what do you think would actually happen to the culture?
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Like from every aspect.
Yeah. It would make for a completely different world, for real.
Genuinely.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's been nice having you on the show. You're
Thanks
kicking
for having me.
ass.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Guys, again, please support the Lexi J Wellness 9/11 stair climb. It is on September 11th, 2 p.m. to 6:30 or so at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. And if you can't be there in person, please make a donation. Big or small, it's all appreciated.
Yeah, every dollar goes to safe.
Yep. It's something that we all care a lot about here, and you guys should too. And final thoughts?
I'm ready to start 75 hard again.
Yeah. You already did it once this year. You killed it.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was also the hardest mentally.
Yeah.
That I was in bad spots in those 75 days, and there were so many days I wanted to quit. And as I was doing it and when I was contemplating quitting, I was like, I would spiral if I quit though. This is keeping my head afloat, and it's keeping me on track because of that resilience and that intentional stress I'm putting myself under. And I got done with 75 hard, and I honestly just kept it going.
Yeah.
And that was probably my biggest physical transformation. Also, I got a little unintentional bulk over the winter.
Yeah, I think I would say when I'm in between phases or not on the program, I pretty much still do all
I was going to
shit.
say, that's one of the things that people don't realize. I still drink a gallon.
That's why when people are like, oh, it's unsustainable. No, you dumbass. It's a repeatable program. Your diet's not sustainable either, right? We have to understand we are building skills. Skills get strong. Skills get weak. Just like our body, just like we go in the gym, we get in better shape. We get muscle, we get strong, we get lean. We go out for month and off, and guess what? You don't look the same. It's not permanent. And the same thing is with your mental discipline and fortitude and grit and confidence. We have to continue to make investments in these things over and over and over again to make sure that they're sharp and that we're operating at our highest level. And that's something that once you figure out, it really is life-changing. And the awareness, I think, is really the most important part, because, before that, I would just feel bad for like long points of time. I would be like, man, I just don't feel right.
You don't realize how good it feels to feel good consistently.
Yeah, and be proud of yourself on a daily basis. Like, dude, when you wake up in the morning and you're on 75 hard and you crush the day before, my first thoughts naturally are sort of like doom and gloom when I wake up, because I always have so much shit to handle right away. But like my first win of the day is always, well, I won yesterday. That's my win of the day.
And a bad day on 75 hard, your confidence is still higher.
That's right. That's right. Well, anyway, guys, look, Lexi, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome. I would love to, have you come on and talk some more about this sometime. Maybe we do an episode with you and Will, and we kind of all just talk about it.
Sweatiest humans alive. The sweatiest humans alive.
Yeah.
Episode.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think people need to hear that, like, these people like Will and you who are out here doing these crazy things, they didn't start that way. They started like Will started like a fat little turd. You know what I'm saying? And now everybody looks at him and they're like, bro, he's one of the best athletes in the world. Well, yeah, because he for day after day after day for years at a time, he worked at it. And anyway, it's just, I'm babbling, but thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
All right, guys, that is the show. 75 hard versus Lexi Johnson. If you are interested in 75 hard, you can get the entire program for free at episode 208 on the audio feed. It's not on YouTube. Or you can go to my website, andyfrisella.com, and buy the book on mental toughness. It is not required. It does include the entire 75 hard and live hard program, plus a whole bunch of extra information that you will enjoy. All right, so that's the show. We will see you next time. Don't forget, don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right, there you go.